We have close to 100 crore mobile connections, but you know what kind of connectivity we have. So neither internet nor mobile is a dependable service. This is the backbone of our digital banking. In the first round, I will ask each of you, and starting with Rahul, how do you address this connectivity issue? Mr. Rao.
Yeah, in my mind, so that see in a large country, so perhaps so you will have some patchy connectivity somewhere or the other. So that, but I would rather treat that as an exception. Okay. Because otherwise, so that you are not going to see the kind of mobile penetration that we have seen already happen in this country. And nobody would be using those devices if they couldn't actually use them. So it's about really the challenge is about converting or making those devices do payments as well.
Is this perception wrong that the so-called mobile wallet is predominantly an urban phenomena?
We always looked digital banking as a part of digital money process. That unless you have a money in digital, how would you do digital banking? You can create a wallet on the fly. So therefore, it is not necessarily an urban phenomena and an elite customer phenomena. For money transfer, there are at least more than 100 million consumers being serviced by PPIs, and probably about 10 to 20 million are created by us alone. If you see the transaction done by them, whether irrespective of feature phone, smartphone, internet, no internet, they could walk into an outlet to a nearest place, get the money digitized in a real time. It's a real time, mind you. It's not like a 5-day, too late, 2-hour lag. The money reaches into a bank account. And that process is also way cheaper. I think on an average, the cost is about 1.5%, and probably some 100 rupees in most cases at the higher side. So if you compare the benefit and the cost and the whole wallet penetration, it's not necessarily by people like us for using Uber. It's equally big. And if I have processed as a ITSCAS alone 1 billion, and there are 3 or 4 entities like us.
Fino, you are probably the largest and the oldest business correspondent, right? And now from there you are shifting into a payment base and all. Tell us what is your take, how difficult, what are the challenges in this particular digital?
The digital assets, the people who are in this business of providing digital technology, the trained manpower, when I've been looking at hiring people on a digital, one is that they are very, very expensive. I would say because of the online euphoria which has been there, a lot of the online companies are offering a very, very high salaries, which in our case, as a payments bank, the business model does not allow us to offer that kind of salaries and get those people into our fold. So connectivity from a rollout perspective and building up a technology internally, the capability which is there, for which you need the digital assets and for which you need the people to build up, are very, very scarce as of now. So a lot of people are going into an outsourced model, engaging with companies to provide them core banking and maybe some UI UX platform, which is to say. And as a payments bank, I think the biggest and the most important thing is the customer interface. How convenient that customer interface is. We have seen in the last 1 year, a lot of wallet companies have come and they built up a good customer interface, and at the cost of at a very, very minimal cost and at the convenience of a customer. So will the payments bank be able to build that kind of a technology platform which you can provide at a minimal cost? So the biggest challenge is to scale 10x and to bring down the cost by 10x. So if we are able to, as payments bank, do that.
Payments itself is a big business, and there is also lots of synergies with what we do in other businesses belonging to the group. Your point related to connectivity is very valid. It's just that there are circles which are being covered by the existing telcos, but I think there are two fundamental issues. One is that there is not a revolution that has happened, unlike other countries, specifically China, on smartphones. I think there's a smartphone revolution that took that country to what it is today. That's fundamentally the one big event that we should look forward to. And the second big piece is that this game is all about data, and I think we are very often confusing ourselves with mobile connectivity and not data.
Yes.
And I think that is a very, very fundamental issue that we need to resolve. And I think the resolution between the handset access, which is a last mile coverage, through data, I think is the fundamental solution to this. That's one part. The second is that in the course of the earlier discussion that happened in the panel, everyone was talking about, including yourself, Tamal, about digital banking and the access through internet and mobile. I think that is by itself an extension or a conversion or a migration of your existing banking channels to a more digital method.
Sure.
I think we should change our mindset on this. What we should look at is how does one get into digital transactions with the banking happening in the background. Banking should be invisible as far as users are concerned. The maid that you talked about, the example, I think she should only bother about doing some action on her phone, which should be purely like a game, right? Gamification of each of these actions is very important because adoption will automatically increase. Now, if you look at the mobile proliferation today, look at the kind of people who are having a mobile phone, right? It could be a feature phone, but the feature phone is in the hands of every citizen today that you can look at, whether it's urban or in the rural.
Mr. Khan, you heard the connectivity, whether it's an issue or non-issue. Rao said it is not a non-issue. Most of others said yes, it is an issue. This gentleman said that you need a smartphone revolution, and of course the cost is a major factor. So from the regulator's point of view, how do you address this?
Let me start with one general point of view. When you talk about digital banking or digital financial space, we need to look at maybe from 4 dimensions. One is the product should be available, product should be acceptable, product should be affordable, and the most critical is product people should be aware. The awareness part is very critical. The other point I would like to mention in this concept is sometimes the hoopla about technology forgets the fellow at the bottom of the pyramid. The whole idea is that you have invested, you should have more customers so that per unit investment you can earn more. For that you have to create a business model which is cost efficient. When it comes to a corporate customer, you have so many frills to offer. But when you come to the BOP customer, whose volume is more, we are really not passing on to that sort of thing. So we need to look at how do we manage our cost besides awareness and affordability. Affordability, how it becomes affordable. If it becomes affordable and there is an awareness and people will come, I think we are going in the right path. And as we have been discussing this Digital India plan, taking fiber optics, internet connectivity increasing, broadband, Wi-Fi, and all those are initiatives that in direction. We need not be pessimistic as you sounded initially. But I think things are happening. Probably we need it more synergetic effort to see that we really bridge this digital divide and make best use of the technology. The other point which you mentioned, the other colleague mentioned about that people have a feeling of transacting without really getting actually sort of intimidated by banking brick and mortar structure. So back end things should move, front end should be, there should be convergence, whether I use a mobile, whether I use an internet, whether I use a voice or whatever front end I can use. So we need to have that convergence which is happening. In fact, Brett King said that for banking you don't need banks.